Hanaki, did you know that our souls are connected by fate? What do you know? Yuno Hanaki from Production Kawaii's Hanamizuki. Good morning. Welcome to part 3 of Necrobarista. We'll be going into the 3rd chapter today. Hopefully. Who told you? I just happen to know these things. This is the inherent knowledge that I personally was gifted. So, that's just, I just know. That's just how it is. But yeah, good morning. We're gonna be getting into the next part of Necrobarista. I'm excited. Sorry that the waiting room came up like 5 minutes before the stream. I had the thumbnails finished last night, but I forgot to put them up because I was really sleepy. I said this the other day, but I've been trying to catch up on sleep a little bit ever since I've been home. So it's led to me actually being kind of tired during the nighttime now. Sometimes. Sometimes. I say that when I literally like stayed up and hung out with Isla-sama during a time when I probably should have been asleep, but you know, it's the principle of the thing. In principle, in theory, I have been catching up on my sleep properly, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, good morning. Hope you guys slept well if you slept. If it's not morning for you, I hope you have had a good day. And this is a good wind down time for you and such as well. I did put up the thumbnail for this evening's stream ahead of time at the very least, so I remembered to do that much. My other thumbnails are done. I only had time to put up this one and the Trip Zatsu before stream, so I'll put up the other ones after the stream is done. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started here in a little bit. I like kind of remember where we left off, but I also kind of don't. But I've noticed that the chapters aren't necessarily like obviously they're linear, but I've kind of noticed that it's not like, I guess it's not a huge deal that I don't remember everything between chapters. I do still really like the story though. Like I still want to know where it's going. But do I entirely remember where we left off? Not really. But I think that's okay. Alright. Let's go ahead and hit continue, I suppose. We were in like the in-between part, and I'm pretty sure we picked up all the lore pieces in this between part, so I think I can go right to the next chapter once it loads in. The disinfectant is the last I remember. Well, I know that one of the last things we did was putting the faces on the little guys, which is why they are in my thumbnail. We gave them their little faces. They have personality now. Yeah, see? We gave them little doodle faces. I am pretty sure it did not delete my doodles. If it did, I will be very mad. But I will double check. Just to make sure. Please, the little faces. I'm fairly certain, but if not, it's Jover. And I will have to redraw them, I guess. Me looking at my thumbnail. I think it's okay, though. I'm pretty sure it's saved. Yeah, see? These are our little creatures. They're good faces. I like them very much. Hell yeah. Okay, so it did save. That's good, that's good. I was actually a little bit worried. Okay. So then we are good then. I can just go progress to the next chapter. I know. I'm not really sure how I feel about them constantly like starting us in like the same spot like this. The game do be gaming, I guess. It's like I know doodle mode is available. I just exited it. I just did it. You don't have to remind me. Okay. But yeah, fairly positive I got all of the lore bits. So we'll just go right into the next chapter. And if I didn't somehow, and like I forgot some, my bad, I guess. Whoops, my bad. First time playthrough, please understand. I don't know where all of the lore bits are. And I'm not looking up a guide. He is dead. Day 2, 12 p.m., the terminal. Rise and shine. Don't wanna... You shouldn't waste your last hours on Earth sleeping. Whoever said I'll have plenty of time to sleep when I'm dead probably had a different idea of how things would play out after death. True. Man. I was hoping that I was having a really long, weird dream. Sorry. No such luck. Some more pedantic magical practitioners are quite bothered by flippant and colloquial use of the word luck. Che isn't one of them. I'm still having trouble getting my head around it. I totally understand. Want a coffee? The basement. Yeah, just something simple. Hipster coffee, coming right up. What's going on downstairs? I didn't even know you had a downstairs. There's more to this place than meets the eye. Maddie's down there, desperately trying to fix our debt situation. It sounds like she's hosting a cage match or something. Well, not exactly. But she's mentioned wanting to do that. There's some wrestler called the Red Comet that she wouldn't stop talking about for a while. And then because of that, Ashley got obsessed with wrestling for a bit and kept trying to suplex me. That's very Ashley. And also very funny. Ashley's small, so she has to opt for wrestling moves that control the opponent's weight instead of trying to lift them. Yeah, that's why. Not because she thinks a suplex is cool. She's taking advantage of her height. Nice coat, Ashley. Did she manage to? She's tiny. A couple of times. It was very humiliating. I can imagine. But to properly answer your question, Maddie's running a gambling ring. When you find yourself standing on the brink of death, a wager could be a chance at salvation, or the last chance to feel danger. Both of these appeal to different types of patrons. Downstairs? All by yourself? It'd be such an honor to receive a suplex from Yuno. I will learn how to suplex, I suppose. I did used to wrestle with the other kids when I was little. I wasn't very good at it, though. But I'll learn how to suplex, I guess. It's a fairly unconventional one. And by unconventional, you mean... mortals generally aren't involved. The stakes are higher than usual. Oh. Coffee's ready. Come over and get it. They gamble for time, among other things. Bless you. Oh my gosh. You don't sound like you're a huge fan of the idea. I'm not. It's undignified. I mean, as long as Maddie's not in danger, shouldn't it be fine? Stop with the Tuscario, please. That's embarrassing. Bless your heart, Jimmy. Thanks. Thanks, man. That's me. I'm Jimmy. Jimmy Hanaki. The council doesn't like it. They turn a blind eye because we don't cause trouble otherwise. I'd rather not have to worry about bad things coming our way. Because Maddie refuses to approach the problem from a different angle. And by the problem, you mean the dead, yeah? I was pretty drunk, but I think I remember Maddie storming off after Ned turned up. Yes. I'm a bit worried about her. Wish I could help. You all seem pretty nice. The thought's appreciated. Maddie will figure it out eventually, though, I'm sure. She just needs time. Hey, thanks for the coffee, by the way. I just realized you haven't actually made me pay for a bunch of them. How do you expect to pay for them? Oh, right. Yep, no cash. If I were feeling particularly capricious, I'd ask you to pay in time. But you're a nice kid, and you need every minute you've got. You want to head downstairs? I can see your eyes darting to the stairs. I'm not going down, but I'm also not going to stop you. Yeah, if that's okay. Go on then. I'll stick around up here. Catch you in a bit. We get to see the ring, the illegal gambling. It's in the game. It's okay. We're not promoting actual gambling. It's in the video game. The stairs that led down to the basement were solid and well-worn, with smooth ruts on each step, and a handrail that had been polished to a silky sheen through years of use. Kishan had always liked stairwells. People never lingered in them for long, and he'd found them to be a good place to catch a breather. He wasn't obsessed with them. That'd be weird. But he definitely appreciated a nice set of stairs. Sorry, I don't know how to talk this morning. Let me drink more water. My narrator voice is not as clear as it usually is. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Warming up. Get in the zone. On further reflection, it was probably a little weird. Downstairs, Maddie's audience clamored for blood. Even the dead find blood sports compelling. From you to me. With the understanding that your remaining moments on this plane are limited, you surrender this time freely, without coercion, as agreed. Contract fulfilled. You're free to go. Everything comes at a price. Nothing risked, nothing gained. Phew. That's 3 in a row, you bloodthirsty bastards. The crowd cheered. Maddie was clearly an expert at winding them up into a frenzy. Who's next? The room felt dead silent. Come on, isn't anyone here brave enough to challenge me? I thought you came here to play with knives, you pansies. Seriously, anyone? Don't hold out on me. Do I need to pick someone out from the crowd then? Is this what we've come to? Maddie's gaze swept the audience. Kishan. Good to see you upright. Interested in a game of skill? Me? Yes, you. Oh, sure. Give me some enthusiasm, my man. Sure. What's the game? Five-finger fillet. Some of the people in here just call it the knife game. You heard of it? Oh, finally. Something I'm good at. Let's freaking go! Episode 3. Rise and shine. Good morning. Cuts my finger off. He is real excited about this knife. Whoa. This is a cool side of Kishan we haven't seen yet. You got a lot of knives in this place. Tell me about it. Damn, this thing has a good weight to it. Of course. I wouldn't make you compete with an inferior tool. What? Sorry, I was waiting for you to segue into calling me an inferior tool. Shit, that was low-hanging fruit, wasn't it? And before it turns out he's a serial killer, I mean... There is, like, the ongoing mystery of, like, why he's dead. Maybe the event that he remembers was a cover. Next time, mate. Sure. Kishan did another experimental slash, and this time it made an audible whoosh. The spectators oohed and awed. But this wasn't for them. He knew that he only had one shot to get accustomed to the blade. You done showing off? Nothing wrong with putting on a little show. Sounds like you're stalling for time. Getting cold feet, perhaps? Not a chance. Let's get started then. You know what you're wagering? Jay mentioned something about you gambling with time. It's not gambling if it's a game of skill. That's beside the point. We're both wagering 4 hours. If you win, it comes from the cafe's balance. If I win, it comes from yours. You've got around 16 hours left in case you weren't keeping track. Shit, only that many? Want a little extra time to play with then? Hell yes. Let's stop wasting it and get this over with. You sure you know what you're getting into? Most people are pretty shy about playing with the time they have left, especially when their tank's running as empty as yours. Yep. Come on. Unless you're getting cold feet. Hardly. You've got 30 seconds. Smack the timer when you're ready. Whoa. The crowd cheered, and Kishan fed off their enthusiasm. In response, Maddie leaned back and tapped her finger on the table, feigning impatience. He met her eyes, grinned, and continued his performance. The stabbing motion got faster as he went, the point narrowly missing each of his fingers. Stabs, strong enough to drive the knife a millimeter or two into the table, were good if you wanted to put on a show. And of course, giving the spectators a show was part of the fun. You might be going fast enough to put on a show, but you're not going fast enough to win. How'd I do? 16 sets if I counted correctly. Whoa. I couldn't do 16. That's how many Maddie me with? Is she gonna lose? Nah, she's gonna kick his arse.
Feeling good about that result?
Certainly am.
Rightio then. Watch closely.
Oh, I will.
16. One. 3. 7. 11. 1, 3, 7, 11, 15. Did she only do 15? Oh, I guess she did more.
Told ya, she's unbeatable.
Is it magic? She could cheat if she wanted to.
Definitely not. She's just that good.
Poor guy. He didn't know what he was getting into. Sorry, mate.
You beat me fair and square. I'm pretty impressed.
I aim to please. I'll be taking those hours now if you don't mind. Off to bed? Okay. Sleep well.
Yeah, sure. How does this work?
Well, just like this. You won't feel a thing. Kishan felt a brief tightness in his chest, and for just a moment the tip of Maddie's finger burned white hot.
You can't beat entropy. Anytime you do an energy transfer, there's going to be some amount of energy lost to heat. Ow!
Shit! Sorry, I lied. It's done now, though. Alright. Does anyone else dare to compete with me? Come on, looking for some actual decent opposition here. I'll take any challenge. Even if it's chess or something.
Any challenge?
I challenge you to get everyone a drink.
Rounds on me. Oh, he mad. Oh, he mad. Oh no, the mentor figure, Angie. Are we surprised though?
I didn't realize you were watching.
There wasn't anything happening upstairs and I got bored.
Right.
So, you took some hours from Kishan, huh?
Yes, I did.
Do you feel good about that?
Jay.
Do you?
I won them fair and square.
He didn't know what he was getting into. There's an obvious power imbalance here that you're exploiting.
Jay isn't one to let you forget the responsibilities that come with power. He knew the rules.
That doesn't change anything. You led him to believe that he'd get some extra time.
Maddie knows firsthand how seductive the promise of extra time can be. And,
barring a miracle on his part, that absolutely wasn't going to happen.
It doesn't matter. He's just passing through. A couple hours won't make any difference.
Maddie! I'm disappointed in you. Our patrons respect us. We need to earn that respect by treating them with respect ourselves. This is not respectful or dignified. Cheating vulnerable passers through out of their time, we're above that. We're better than that. I don't care whether you think it's dishonest or not. I want you to give that poor man his time back. Don't pout. This is serious. I feel like a broken record saying this, but while I understand your intentions are good, you can't keep doing these things. It's all for you. If you really want to do this for me, find another way. This isn't worth it, Maddie. It breaks my heart to see you like this, and I know that you're trying your hardest. But this really, truly is not worth sacrificing your own self-respect over. Everyone here respects you, but you gambling with ours just cheapens that. I'll give you ours back. Shame, I was pretty great with the knife. Still not as good as me. I was pretty close. What are they? That Kabedon was a little flush emoji. Yeah, see, you used Yuno blush. Yeah, see, you get it. You understand. Really? That's how short that chapter was? That's really short. I've only been going for 30 minutes. Lovelace. Yes. What form did you have before being reborn? I think I was a crab. Come on, I'm being serious. Ashley wouldn't harvest spirit liquid from a crab. You're assuming an awful lot about how squeamish she is. As far as I can remember, I lived above streets next to the sky. So a bird then? Wings and feathers and such. No, not that. I do remember flying though. Oh, were you a sugar glider? Describe? Did you eat insects and tree sap and flower nectar? That is familiar. Wonder how Ashley found you then. Could have been anything, really. You mentioned bright lights earlier. Oof. Yeah, I'm thinking you got hit by a car. That seems likely. Is that bad? I mean, you're here now, so... whether you like it or not. Shut up. I am still adjusting. Yeah, the faces are so good. They're so cute. I made them very adorable. I mean, they were adorable even before they got the faces, but now that they have the faces, very cute. Look at you turning into a responsible human being. Studio mode is not available. You can now speak to Keisha to access studio mode. Okay. Alright, well, of course looking at the knives will give me something. Okay, well, this is the lore section. We'll see. Oh my god, bless me. Ugh. I'm dying. Anyway, we'll see how much lore there is. Sometimes these lore bits can be pretty long, but I doubt it'll be like 2 hours long. Look, okay. Beth 1. Let's go, little girl. The man standing in front of Beth smirked. The knife he held seemed almost slight compared to his massive hands, but that didn't make it any less intimidating. Finish this one quick, came a call from behind the knife holder. 3 men stood behind him, wearing expressions which ranged from amused to bored. Beth felt her palm getting sweaty, and loosened her grip on the knife in her right hand, sliding her thumb along the guard to reassure herself that its shape hadn't changed since the moment she'd picked it up.
Take your friend's advice,
Beth said to the man who was menacing her.
Finish this quick. After all, I am just a little girl.
Well, as little as any 15-year-old girl could be. Can do, said the man, and he drew his knife up for an overhead swing. The man's movement suggested that he didn't know how to use a knife. Not really. He was swinging the knife like he'd swing a fist. Like he was trying to bludgeon her with it. Like he had never really used a knife before. He was stupid. Mercifully stupid. She tried to reassure herself of that fact, trying not to lose her resolve. He lunged toward her as he brought the knife down, and Beth raised her left arm. She felt the edge of the knife hit her skin, but the impact of the blow caused the man to lose his grip on the knife. An opening. Beth grabbed the attacker's knife arm and pulled him toward her while thrusting her own knife toward him at chest level. She drove the knife into the man's chest with all the force she could muster, and he fell to the ground and gasped as Beth released her grip on him. The man lay on the ground and put a hand to his chest, moaning, "Son of a bitch."
You doing okay down there?
Said Beth. The man sat up and patted his chest. I didn't expect...
To lose to a girl?
No, said the man. Well, that too. I didn't expect it to hurt this much.
These rubber practice knives are no joke, said Beth. If I'd stabbed any harder, I might have broken a rib.
The man stood up. You got a name, girl?
You can call me Beth,
she said, extending a hand. He shook it with a look of hesitation. I'm Kyle. I've got to say, Beth, that was kind of a cheap trick.
How do you mean?
Said Beth. I mean, the way you blocked my knife with your arm. It just bounced right off. You couldn't do that if we were using real knives. He's right, said one of the spectators. Not really a fair fight with rubber knives. I like a rematch, said Kyle. Yeah, said one of the spectators. Rematch. The others began chanting along with him. Rematch, rematch, rematch. A voice thundered from above. I thought I told you guys to keep it down. Everyone spun around to face the stairs leading up to the ground floor. Maddie was leaning over the railing of the staircase with a stern look on her face. She tapped a poster on the wall. Beth took a moment to glance at the sign. Fight Club rules. 1. Don't quote Tyler Durden. 2. Seriously, no Tyler Durden quotes. 3. Always assume your opponent is mortal. Practice weapons only. 4. Be considerate to other guests. Keep noise to a reasonable level. We don't have many rules here, said Maddie. Please don't make me kick you out of the basement. Everyone else in the room cast their gaze downward, looking ashamed, with several mumbled apologies. Maddie nodded and climbed back up the stairs, content that she had made her point. Seriously, though, said Kyle. Not really a fair fight without real knives. Beth walked over to the edge of the room and lifted a rug, revealing 2 steak knives. Several whispers erupted from the small crowd. Where'd you get these? Asked Kyle.
I swiped them from upstairs,
said Beth.
They're not exactly combat gear, but these blades are fit to cut through flesh, whether it's a cooked steak or a human arm.
Beth held one of the steak knives by the blade, presenting its handle to Kyle.
We've already broken one rule tonight. How about breaking another one?
I won't get hurt, said Kyle. I mean, I can still feel the pain, but, you know, I'm not afraid of getting stabbed.
Neither am I,
said Beth.
But don't say you're ready for this if you're not ready to bleed. She turned the knife over in her hands, pressing her thumb against the tip, just enough to draw a single drop of blood. Kyle grinned. Do I look like I would be here if I was afraid to die?
Yes, that's it.
Dang, that's crazy.
Okay, exploration. Honoring spirit.
Kishan's footsteps echoed in a way that startled him. Were his footsteps always so loud? Perhaps it was just the contrast of the surrounding environment, which seemed to be completely silent, that made his footfalls seem so jarringly loud as he walked along the catwalk. He was on a catwalk. Why was he on a catwalk? There seemed to be a gaping space below him, filled with some sort of mist that he couldn't see through. It was fog-like, and yet despite the fog that lapped at his feet, the air felt so dry. The air was thick here. As he breathed heavily, Kishan felt an overwhelming sweet, sickly odor, like the smell of wet or rotting wood, but all he could see around him were steel beams and a concrete path in front of him. Was it rust he was smelling? No, he knew the smell of rust. This was different. This smell was somehow organic, like the smell of a forest after a fresh rainfall. Kishan shivered. Far in the distance, he could see what looked like a building of some sort, so far away that it made the structure he was inside feel almost tunnel-like, as if its only purpose was to convey him to that distant building. He continued walking forward, but as he walked, the building seemed to be growing more and more distant. He quickened his pace, and as he walked faster, he could feel himself moving through the thick, stifling air. Yet as he looked down, he could see the texture of the catwalk in front of him unchanged, as though he were walking in place. Kishan started to turn backward, but saw only a blinding light. His eyes immediately shut, and when he opened them, he was again facing into the tunnel, with a distant building at the center of his field of view. He tried turning around, but every time he tried to turn his head, his eyes involuntarily shut at the sight of the light, and he was forced to close his eyes or look away, always confronted again with the sight of the small hut when he opened his eyes. His heart pounded violently inside of his chest. The tunnel was so quiet that he could hear his own heartbeat, feel his own pulse inside of his head. Something about this place felt deeply, incredibly wrong. Get back. We have to get back. He tried turning again, and this time found himself unable to even begin rotating his body before his eyes snapped shut, placing him again in a world of darkness until he opened them and was confronted with the sight of the small hut in the distance, now looking more far away than ever. I have to get back. Kishan kept facing the building and took a step backward. As he placed his foot on the ground, he felt a gust of wind knock him forward. He let out a yelp of terror. Instinctively, his hands reached for the opposite edges of the catwalk as he fell, trying to steady himself for fear of falling off. The catwalk was wide enough that his body didn't land close enough to the edge for that to have been a risk, and yet as he looked toward the edge, he felt a growing sense of dread that there was something down there that would capture him if he allowed it to catch even the smallest hold of him. Almost as he thought it, he felt the sensation of something pressing against his legs. He stumbled to his feet. He ran forward. The hut ahead of him seemed to grow no closer as he ran, but he ran all the same, running not to reach a destination, but to be away from whatever it was that was behind him. Moments ago, his only thought was an overwhelming desire to turn back, a worry that he was somehow trapped in here. But now that worry was replaced with an overwhelming sense of dread that propelled him forward. He had been pushed forward by something. Something was behind him. Kishan leaned forward and ran. He was no runner. He often found himself winded when forced to climb more than one flight of stairs. And yet he ran and felt no sense of tiredness holding him back, no need to catch his breath. Maybe it was the thick air here that somehow never allowed him to run out of breath. Maybe it was that the fear of whatever it was behind him was that strong. Kishan felt the air stinging at his eyes as he ran. By now, he was running so fast that the thick air felt like a hot wind on his face. Tears began running down his face, but he couldn't find it in him to raise a hand to wipe at his eyes. That would mean slowing his sprint. So he closed his eyes, fully aware that he was running down a catwalk that had no handrail on either side. At this point, he didn't care. He ran and ran. Long after the tears on his face had dried, Kishan realized that he could hear only the sound of his own feet as they struck the catwalk. He couldn't even hear the rush of wind, even as it seemed to buffet his face. There were no sounds of anyone or anything pursuing him. Perhaps there was no pursuer at all. He allowed himself to open his eyes and looked down. He looked over his shoulder. This time there was no blinding light, only a distant glow, like the light at the end of a long tunnel. In a way, it was the light at the end of a long tunnel, and in observing the dim glow of the distant light, Kishan suddenly realized just how far he had run. He turned around and saw the building right in front of him. It had windows that were covered with the same fog that covered the ground around him. Kishan reached for the door handle. He half expected it to be locked, and felt a moment of panic as the handle bowed under the pressure of his hand. Was he ready to face whatever was on the other side of that door? Did he even want to enter? Did he have a choice? What was it that awaited him inside of this building? Answers, or more baffling questions? Kishan looked down the tunnel and suddenly felt cold. Whatever this place was, he needed to escape it, and the only form of egress that seemed available to him was the door of this building. He leaned on the handle and felt the door swing open. Hang on. So I guess that's what he experienced before entering the cafe, maybe? That was him going through, like, the tunnel that brought him from, like, the real world to the afterlife, right? Or, like, I guess because this cafe is also in the real world, so maybe it took him from purgatory and brought him back to the real world, but as a temporary spirit, I guess is what we're supposed to assume. Oh, there's a little guy. Ashley's journal. It's freaking Ashley time. 1 second though, I have to check a message. Hold on 1 second. I need to go talk to Oni on that. Actually, I have to do the alt tab thing. I hate doing this. Okay, I'm muting my mic. I'll be right back.
You know, even though I have a consistent schedule, like, every single week, Money Mama still requires me to remind her, like, every single day what my schedule is. Because for some reason, she forgot that I streamed today, even though I literally stream every Wednesday morning, every single week. There have been very few times where I don't. She was bugging me to, like, get her breakfast and was, like, talking about all this, like, other stuff, and I was just like, Money Mama, I am streaming. I don't have time for this right now. She was hoping I was going to order her coffee this morning, and I'm just like, I'm streaming. I'm literally streaming right now. And then, like, we're still waiting for the aid to show up. The aid doesn't show up until 9, which is why I usually end my streams at 9. I think they'll be okay. Like, she thought that she was out of more stuff than she actually is. But I guess she really wanted me to order her coffee. Not today, mother. I am busy. I am streaming. Anyways, I had to go take care of that because I didn't know why she was bugging me about it this morning. I had to make sure that the aid was still going to show up. Because if she was texting me because the aid wasn't going to be here, I was going to be like, that's concerning. Anyways, back to the video games. Thank you for the headpats.
Ro Battle Royale Robots Power Rankings. Alpha Charlie Echo. All of the commentators call this robot Ace, probably because it's so good. It seems biased for them to call one particular robot Ace, but it's obvious how it got this name when it wins all of the time. At first, it looks like this bot doesn't have a weapon and it's just designed to be really fast and agile. Then you realize that its entire body is a weapon for ramming into unsuspecting people. This would be a great tactic if you got into a fight where you didn't have a weapon. You don't need a flamethrower or a buzzsaw if you just have a 150-kilogram body and can ram into people really fast. This probably wouldn't work very well for me because I don't weigh 150 kilograms, and I'm pretty small. But that isn't a problem, since I usually carry things that can be used as weapons. Like, I could carry a crowbar, and then if someone tried to attack me, I could take the L end and jam the crowbar under their feet, and then pull it up and use it to knock them off balance, even though I am probably smaller than most people. I'm not sure why it's named Alpha Charlie Echo. I assumed it was a remake or made in the style of a bot called Alpha Charlie, but there aren't any other bots by that name, and the team that made it are all rookies. Also, none of them are named Charlie. Maybe it's named after someone's dad or brother. Their next robot will probably be called Beta Charlie Echo, or maybe Alpha V2 Charlie Echo, or Final_Final 2 Charlie Echo. Not the final file name. No, that's a call out. That's a personal jab. Oh, is that it? Okay. I guess so. That was the only thing down this way, so we go back. This game is so dark. It's like hard to see. Like, or well, at least like this section is quite dark. Oh god. I can't see a dig back here. I'm blind. Okay. This way? Oh. Billiards 2! Wow, the sequel to the Billiards story. That's crazy. The story that took like 89 years last time. You know, kid, you got style. Brad perked up. It was the first unsolicited remark he'd heard from the old man Thomas all night. He'd been expecting a compliment after beating Thomas, but to hear that kind of comment after a loss made him perk right up. Thanks, said Brad. It wasn't a compliment, said Thomas. And just like that, Brad's mood came crashing down. Thomas continued. All the best players back in the day
None of them had style. Style doesn't win tournaments. Sure, said Brad. Consistency is what wins tournaments. Consistency doesn't mean anything, said Thomas. That's a symptom of skilled play. It's not a thing you can just decide on. No one sits down at the table thinking, gee, I better be consistent today. Nobody. So if you're not thinking about consistency, what are you thinking about? Fundamentals. Thomas chalked the end of his cue. Fundamentals are what matters most, because if you don't get the fundamentals right, all the fancy shit isn't going to matter. Thomas leaned down to line up his cue. The straight-in shot is your specialty. Several opponents told me exactly that, tongue-in-cheek, thinking that they were insulting me, but I take it as a compliment. If you control the cue ball, you can turn any shot into a chip shot. That's what you want to do. That's how I can still sink them, even at my old age. I know, I've been watching you, said Brad. Your cue ball control is incredible. You're a very talented player. Not talented, said Thomas. You can do it too. The question is whether you've got the discipline and the patience. Thomas followed through with his stroke and hit the apex of the triangle head-on. He sank 2 balls, one striped and one solid. He pointed to the striped one, signifying his choice. I'm plenty disciplined, said Brad. When I was in high school, I'd come out every day after school and put in at least 4 hours of practice. Sometimes I'd come in after dinner to squeeze in a few hours more. Then on weekends, I'd come and spend all day up here. Of course you did, said Thomas. All the pros have. Anyone can put in time. At a certain point, what matters can't be the number of hours you put in, because everyone puts in the time. What matters is how you use that time. And it seems like you spent a lot of time practicing trick shots. Thomas lined up and made several practice strokes. Brad found himself getting annoyed with Thomas. Brad knew better than to try to talk to Thomas while he was lining up a shot. That was bad etiquette and just bad sportsmanship, plain and simple. But it kept him from offering timely retorts to Thomas's statements. It was bad sportsmanship, Brad decided, to talk at an opponent in a situation where etiquette forbade him from responding. Thomas finally took the shot and sunk a solid-colored ball, but a bad bounce put the cue in the pocket with it. Brad sighed with relief as he took control of the ball, and with it, control of the conversation. You're right, it takes a lot of practice. Brad lined up a shot, aiming at one of the balls in the opposite corner. He could get the angle just right. He took the shot, and the cue ball knocked one of the striped balls into the back left pocket before ricocheting and hitting another ball into the back right pocket, a clean double. Brad tapped the table with his cue, as if to emphasize the shot he had just made. You don't learn how to do shit like this overnight. That's a nice trick, said Thomas. Now, can you do the same thing 10 times in a row without messing it up? No, said Brad. The bad typo. Said bad. Where is the... Poor Brad. Minor spelling mistake. Worst game. Literally unplayable. Literally unreadable text. It's a hard shot. About a 10%er for most people. Doing my boy Brad dirty. Yeah, they're doing Brad bad with this. But I'm good. I can get it 30-40%. A 30% shot isn't worth taking, said Thomas. If I offered you a coin flip bet with a weighted coin, would you take it? No, of course not, said Brad. And yet you take the low percentage shot. I make it a higher percentage shot, though, said Brad. Yes, and I'm sure that you look like a big hero by doing it. And when you miss, no one calls you on it because defensive shots are boring, said Thomas. I can play defensively, said Brad. But you don't win games by playing defensively. Of course not, said Thomas. There's nothing on the scoreboard that lets you tabulate the places where you denied your opponent a point. Not even the story respects Brad. Breaking Brad. Baking bad. There's 2 different ones. Breaking Brad and then baking bad. Or I guess beaking? Because there'd be no R. Stupid.
Brad was angry now, and he began lining up his next shot just so he wouldn't have to hear the old man talk. Some players might get tilted in a situation like this, but Brad played better when he was emotional. Whatever it was that made him play better under pressure also made him play better while angry. He couldn't even think about the shots he was making. He was operating on pure instinct and conscious thought. The thought that was chased away by anger was only a distraction. Brad tried for another double. He missed the second ball, but one was enough to set him up for a triple bank shot, which he followed with another shot that he put spin on. He didn't even need to curve the ball around anything. He just wanted to show Thomas that he could do it reliably. Fortunately, he didn't get punished for it. His last shot placed one of Thomas's balls between the black 8 ball and the white cue ball. Brad knew that he could sink the shot easily by hitting Thomas's solid into his stripe, but he was on fire, and he wanted something flashy. He struck the cue ball's base, driving the leather tip of his stick into the table, and it bounced the ball up and over Thomas's ball, hitting his own and sending it into the pocket. Brad turned to Thomas with a look of defiance. "Looks like this game is mine, old man."
"Yep," said Thomas.
He took another sip of his beer.
"Is that all you have to say?" "Yep," said Thomas. "How about, oh, you outplayed me?" "Do you need me to tell you that?" said Thomas. "A little acknowledgement would be nice." A moment after he finished saying it, Brad found himself cringing. He was sounding like a petulant child. He was frustrated and angry and disappointed. But knowing all of that about himself didn't make any of it any less true. Thomas shrugged. "I thought you played to win the game, not for validation." "Oh, give me a break," said Brad. "That line coming from a pro? When you compete, play to win, sure. But there's money on the line. And the money goes to the person who gets the W. You play to win the game, you get the money. But I get the feeling you're playing for something else." "What are you talking about?" said Brad. "You play to impress people. That's different from playing to win. That's why you never take the defensive shot." "I just won." "Yep," said Thomas. "But you weren't playing to win. Just because you happened to win doesn't mean you made the right decision." "How the hell does that make any sense?" said Brad. Thomas took a coin out of his pocket. "Here's a hypothetical. Suppose I have a coin. I ask you to call heads or tails on a $1 bet. Now, you know that the coin is weighted. It lands on heads 70% of the time. What do you bet on?" "Heads, of course," said Brad. "Now I flip the coin. It comes up tails. Bad luck, Brad. You just lost $1. But did you make the right decision?" "What?" Thomas continued. "If you had called tails, you would have won the bet. Clearly, calling tails is the wrong decision. But sometimes, you make the wrong decision and get short-term payoffs. That's why the fact that you won doesn't necessarily mean that you made the right decision. And sometimes, these things only reveal themselves after you've flipped the coin hundreds of times." "I've played hundreds of games," said Brad. "And that's as a pro. Practice games, I play 100 games in a week, easy. Maybe 200 games a week, depending." "And how many times have you made the WBC?" "I won the WBC," said Brad. "Right," said Thomas. "That's the thing about calling tails. Sometimes, even if you make the wrong choice, randomness comes up in your favor and you happen to run hot. But in the long run, things don't quite pan out." Brad threw his cue down. "So now you're saying that my wins were all due to luck?" "Not all luck," said Thomas. "Like you said, it takes some skill to take a 10% shot into a 30% shot. A lot of skill, in fact. You've got good hands and a good eye for the ball. But the lust for a cool shot supersedes that. You'd rather fail spectacularly than win through boring play." "Fuck you," said Brad. "You know what? I actually won the WBC. Maybe I did run hot for just 1 year, but at least I have a championship to my name. You made it to the final 6 times and lost every time. And now your career is done. You're over with. You'll never be a WBC champion, A title which I hold, by the way. You're right, said Thomas. I don't mean to knock the high variance approach. Maybe that's what you want, to win once and then burn out. Yeah, that is what I want, said Brad, annoyed to find himself agreeing with Thomas. What have you done with your life since retirement, old man? Ever done anything wild? I bet I've lived more in one night than you have in your entire life. I'm happy with the way I spent my life, said Thomas. No regrets. His eyes softened. Can you say the same? The question should have come as a challenge, but there was something in Thomas's eyes as he looked at Brad that made it feel even worse. Thomas's expression wasn't one of antagonism. It was one of pity. Brad knew, deep in the pit of his heart, that Thomas wasn't doing it to attack him, and that made it sting even worse. Brad started to say something, but found himself choking on a lump in his throat, and as he reached up and felt wetness on his cheeks, he realized that he was crying. Poor Brad. He really did make Brad feel bad. That's so messed up. Was there a thing over here? Rotten puppy? Rotten puppy. Poppy. Sorry. I thought that said puppy. It's Poppy. Rotten Poppy. I learned how to read. Good job, team. I did it.
Maddie opened an herb jar and sighed as she examined the contents.
Rotten.
She began pouring them down the sink. I hate poppy seeds, she muttered to herself.
I won't tolerate that kind of hate speech here, said Shay.
Too bad the rules aren't yours to make, old man, said Maddie. You should have thought of that before you handed me the keys. I can help you get the keys back, said Ashley. I've got a magnetic grabber that...
The keys are a metaphor, said Maddie.
They're not some kind of magical talisman that grants ownership over an establishment. But there is a magic talisman that grants ownership over the establishment?
Asked Ashley.
Yeah, said Maddie. It's called a deed, and this deed entitles me to certain privileges such as expressing my hatred for poppy seeds.
Hate is not good for the soul, said Jay. Hatred corrupts the soul. Hey, I'm new here, said Kishan. But, are you talking literally? Does hatred actually corrupt the soul?
No, hatred does not corrupt the soul, said Maddie. Nor will poppy seeds, despite being a distant cousin of the bay leaf.
It's a good thing, said Shay, because Maddie's soul is full of hate. Trust me, I've seen the ultrasound. Once again, as the new guy, I gotta ask, are you talking literally?
No, hatred does not show up on an ultrasound, said Maddie.
And I assume the thing about bay leaves corrupting the soul is also a metaphor.
Oh no, said Maddie. That part was entirely literal. Bay leaves absorb bitterness. You always remove the bay leaf from something before eating it.
Bitterness is in figurative bitterness?
I was talking literally, in the sense that bay leaves absorb figurative bitterness. But yes, they also absorb literal bitterness.
I'm so confused right now, said Jay.
Just don't absorb a bay leaf into your soul and you'll be fine, said Maddie. It's not the kind of thing that happens accidentally.
Are you sure? Said Kishan. Because I think I may have accidentally ingested a bay leaf one time. My friend's grandma made this big pot of chili.
The soul is not connected to your digestive tract, said Maddie.
This conversation, you're so silly.
It's not your gut. So unless you're inhaling your food, it's not going to be a problem.
Again, said Kishan. New guy here. Soul, respiratory system. That's a thing?
Oh yeah, said Maddie. Why do you think people are so into burning herbs and inhaling them?
I always assumed that was just how, I don't know exactly how cannabis works, but it's like psychoactive.
What? Said Maddie. No, not that herb. Like people who burn incense.
Huh, said Kishan. That's something new.
That's why you always have to watch out for when herbs go bad, said Maddie. Someone might accidentally inhale some of them, Yet another reason to hate poppy seeds and their short shelf life. Kishan's eyes narrowed.
How long does it take for poppy seeds to go bad?
These went bad in a matter of months, said Maddie.
A matter of months? Said Kishan. How many months are we talking here?
Maybe 30, said Maddie.
Kishan did some counting on his fingers. 30 months is 2.5 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Jay piped up.
You left that jar of poppy seeds for 2.5 years?
Maddie nodded. As I said, a number of months. 30 is a number.
30 is an injustice, said Jay. How have you not touched poppy seeds in all this time?
People don't actually like poppy seeds, said Maddie. People just like the muffins they come in. If you give them the muffin without the poppy seeds, they'll like it even more. Poppy seeds just make everything worse.
People love poppy seeds, said Jay. Me, for instance. I have a great love for the humble poppy.
Really? Said Maddie. Then how is it that you've never touched this jar of poppy seeds in the past 30 or so months it's been sitting on the spice shelf?
Jay shrugged. I like lots of things. Evidently, during the past 30 months, I've found things I enjoyed more than the humble poppy seed. I'm offended by the idea that you would discriminate against such a lowly and unpretentious food item.
You like the idea of poppy seeds, said Maddie. You like the idea of an herb that comes in discrete units called seeds, so you don't have to wonder about how much a sprig is. It's something that you can picture, as opposed to cumin that you wouldn't recognize even if I said it on your tongue. Or rosemary, which you probably forgot was a spice and which you couldn't tell from time. When you see me disposing of poppy seeds, it pains you because it's something you can conceptualize. If I told you that I hate cumin and had to flush a bunch of it down the sink, would you be bothered by that?
Probably not, said Jay.
So really, it is not I who am discriminating against the poppy seed. It is you who is discriminating against non-poppy seed spices. There is no reason for us to have poppy seeds anywhere in this cafe. People claim they want them, but you can go years without ever serving up a single poppy seed and no one will notice its absence. A woman wearing a loose green sweater walked up to the counter. Were you just talking about poppy seeds? Yes, said Maddie. We're all out. Oh, that's too bad, said the woman. I was hoping you might have a... Don't say muffin, thought Maddie to herself. Don't say anything about poppy seed muffins. A poppy seed muffin, said the woman. My grandmother was really fond of them. Jay grinned as Maddie tried to avoid cringing. The woman in the green sweater said, it used to be part of the standard muffin trifecta. Chocolate, blueberry, poppy seed. I always wondered why cafes stopped serving poppy seed muffins. I wonder, said Maddie aloud. It's been so long since I've tasted one, said the woman. Years, I'm guessing, said Maddie. Yeah, it's been years, so... Thanks, OBS, very cool. Is that all there is? Sometimes I have a hard time telling when a story's over, but I guess so, it's not doing anything else, so I guess that's it. Rotten poppy. They are so silly. Oh, I guess I can keep going that way. I don't like it. It's dark over there. It's dark over there. I don't think there's anything else back here, though, so I guess I should keep going? Probably. I guess I have to go into the dark space. Dark space time. Whee! I truly cannot see anything in here. Dang, the abyss sure is crazy. Wait, is there like a... Can I turn up the brightness? Oh, it's already at max? That's crazy. Okay. Sure. We're in the void. Girl, how do I get out of here? Maybe I can just go to the door. Oh, yep. This was not open before.
it opened because I finished reading all the lore stuff. Cellar? Oh, I don't think I can go this way. Yeah, that is probably a door that I just cannot see because I am blind right now. So back up I go. Whee! And it goes back into the cafe. This is studio mode. What is this? What is this new mode that we unlocked? Kind of seems like the game's gonna crash. Please don't. There we go. Oh. Right, I forgot the game has this. You can, like, make scenes. Like, your own scenes within the game using, like, game assets. So you can, like, change the... You can, like, have an animation. You can, like, have up to 6 characters in a scene, I guess. But see, like, we have, like, a starting scene here. And then you can go and, like, have it zoom in to, like, this view of her face. And then you could, like, make it a different cut, like, all the way through here. So that's kind of cool, I guess, if you, like, wanted to make your own Necrobarista scene. A good way to, like, make your own little fanfics, I guess. I don't have the brain power for these kinds of things, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave. But that is a cool feature. Seems hard to learn, or at least it would take effort, but it's cool to include for those that like it. Yeah, I think it's neat. Of course, they shove me back down to Fight Club. Yes, I know that I can talk to Keyshawn. I already did. I go back upstairs. I guess that's all there was, though, so I can just proceed to the next chapter. So I do not think that there is a point in ending here, even though, surprisingly, all of that in-game lore did take, like, an hour. Well, actually, it was more like 40 minutes, but that was quite a bit of time, still. I think I'll try and push and do one more chapter, and then maybe I will just, like, recheck the lore, or, like, do the second section of lore stuff at the beginning of the next stream. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe the next chapter will be quite short. Who knows? Why is she open-mouthed? That looks weird. She looks too happy. That cannot be real. That does not feel like the real Maddie. Maddie is, like, so bitter and sarcastic most of the time that it's weird seeing her being like, haha, hi, hey, what can I get you? It's like she's faking it. Anyway, though. Yeah, I think I might as well just continue. We'll get 2 chapters in today. Shocking. Whoa, quite. Okay. Whoopee! So we'll get through chapter 4. And depending on what time it is when we finish chapter 4, maybe a little bit of its lore stuff. Day 2, 5 p.m. outside the terminal. Oh, hello. You right? Yeah, I guess. Cool. Mind if I join you? Go for it. Dury? Hmm? You want a Dury? I'm sorry, Dury. Coffin nail. Cigarette. Do you want to smoke or not? Oh, right, of course. Yeah, sure. Sorry. It's been a weird day. Thanks. No worries. Where are you from, then? You're the first to ask. I live in Collingwood. Where else can you find an active nightlife scene amid active factories, shops, and apartments built all during the 1800s? Oh yeah? Whereabouts? Smith Street. Bit pricey up there these days, isn't it? Bet you like your avo toast. Piss off. I've got housemates. Well... Nah, I know what you mean. Bit odd. Being dead and all that. Takes some getting used to. Ned certainly knows what it's like to get used to being dead. People keep saying that, but it doesn't make me feel any better. I understand. Do you? I reckon as much as anyone can, yeah. Right. Hey, what's avo toast actually taste like? Huh? I've never had it. Can't you go out and just eat some? I'm sure Maddie could whip it up if you asked. Avocados are a highly malevolent fruit. Don't trust them one bit. Plus, I've got this whole... situation. Oh, so that's what the straw was for. You got it. So, what does it taste like? I don't know. Like avocado and toasted bread. Avocado is kind of cold and mushy, but it's got a good taste. Like peas? Definitely better than mushy peas. Love me a bowl of peas, mate. One famous Australian outlaw requested peas with a bottle of wine for his last meal before he was hanged. Cool? That's a fun tidbit of information, I guess. Oh wait, didn't they say that Ned was like a famous criminal? And then he ended up in like the afterlife law enforcement somehow? I guess to like atone, maybe? Is that what they're referencing here? Must be. No avocado. You don't like avocado? That's crazy. I love avocado. What? Because they're the only thing you can eat through a straw? Watch yourself. Gonna zap me with your Death Council powers? First off, it's the Council of Death, not a Death Council. They're totally different things. Secondly, you really think that's what we do? Walk around shooting lightning out of our fingers? Never had it myself? Really? You should try and get some avocado if you ever can. I think it's good. I mean, the thing for me is that I don't feel like it really has much of a taste. The first couple of times I had avocado, it just kind of tasted like a richer butter. With like maybe less like flavor. But it just kind of tasted like butter to me. Like it was just kind of like smooth and creamy. Which can still be yummy. Probably why it's good on toast. Well, when you put it like that, it sounds a bit silly, yeah. We can't do anything like that. We just keep things running smoothly is all. Harassing cafe owners to settle their time debt isn't something we like to do often. So, you just keep the peace? As fucking ironic as that sounds, yeah. Ned keeps the peace. Dude. I know. Want another? Sure.
I really only haven't had it because I've gotten picky, but it doesn't sound bad. I don't think it's bad. I think to some people it does have a little bit of a taste. And, like, the more I ate it, the more I realized it does have a slight taste, but it's still not, like, super strong. It's not really an overpowering flavor. It's very, very subtle. And I agree that it can be hard to describe. They call it butterfruit here. I never realized they're the same thing. Butterfruit. Yeah, it's very similar. That makes sense to me. I know some people cook with, like, avocado oil, too, because it's not particularly it doesn't really have, like, a taste, so it's a good, like, neutral oil when you're cooking. Fascinating. I love the sunrises here.
They're alright.
You watch many sunrises, Ned?
Not enough, no.
Even semi-immortals need their sleep. Liminal space tends to draw liminal people. Whatever that means. I just like to sit here and watch it. Even when it's cloudy or raining, there's just something about watching the sunrise that makes it easier to deal with the coming day.
Feeling optimistic all of a sudden?
No, I still feel like shit.
Huh.
How about you, Kishan? Kishan?
I don't feel great. I'm still having a lot of trouble, You guys, I'm dead, and I've only got a couple hours left before I have to go, and I don't think anyone here really properly understands what it's like to see your last sunrise ever without any idea of what comes next, and that is really fucking terrifying. And I'm never gonna see my friends, or my boyfriend, or my family again. I'm just gonna pass on, and I'll never know how they'll remember me or mourn me, or if I'm ever gonna be remembered as a good dude who tried his best, or if I'll just be forgotten in a year. But that good dude who tried his best couldn't even win a friggin' game of five-finger fillet in the basement of a cafe that basically sits on the banks of the Styx as far as I can tell, and God, I can't even tell if that matters? Were the stakes low? High? I can't tell. I'm so disoriented, and I'm trying so desperately to feel something. But all I feel is that I'm slipping away with every second. I'm losing myself by degrees, and that's incredibly scary, and I don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, fair cop. I actually came out to apologize for that. The game.
Oh, for God's sake, Maddie, have you been gambling again?
Can it, Ned? Kishan, I shouldn't have taken that time from you.
You took it fair and square.
I don't feel like I did, so I'm giving it back. Believe me, I'm as surprised as you are. I don't usually do this.
What's different this time?
That's my business.
I can't believe you're still swindling people out of hours to try and fix your debt.
Dude, I know.
It's bloody undignified, and it's a clear violation of the rules.
I will banish you right now, my man.
I thought you'd stopped pulling that crap once you took ownership of the cafe from Che. You really think doing this is going to help you pay this debt?
Yes. Absolutely. And if you've got any bright ideas on how to do it otherwise, I am all ears.
We should have never granted you and Che those licenses to practice.
The actions of reckless necromancers make a pretty good case for the importance of occupational licensing.
You've obviously failed to be responsible with them.
You really think we wouldn't be doing it if we didn't have the licenses, Bushman? Given your history, the hypocrisy on display here is astounding.
That's all behind me, and you know it. I've been working on doing some good for the last 100 years.
With the council? Really?
Yes, we maintain the balance. You know why that's important.
Sure do. I don't need you moralizing at me from your ivory tower.
Give it a rest, guys.
But...
I'm pulling the last day on Earth card. Quit it.
I'll be inside. Come find me when you want those hours back, Kishan.
For what it's worth, I'm sorry about all of this. I've never been to the other side. I was too afraid to leave. Walked the land for decades, evading the council. That's a crime they call revenancy. Staying too long, upsetting the balance. But in lieu of booting me straight to the next place or some sort of eternal punishment, the council offered me a job.
Ned may have forgotten some of the sins of his past, but he's pretty sure he wouldn't be going to heaven.
Sorry. That's all stuff you don't care about, I suppose. It's interesting enough.
How are you? I'm doing good. Reading a very emotional story right now. Having a good old time. I hope you are also doing well.
Nah, I'm just filling up empty air. You should head inside and grab those hours back. Truth be told, I'm not feeling especially fond of Maddie right now. She might have been dishonest with you, but even I can tell she's at the end of her rope. You might not be able to see it yet, but I think the people in there are fond of you. You think so? Maddie wouldn't have offered the hours back if there wasn't something different about you. Plus, that kid Ashley seems to like you, yeah? I guess. She kinda just dragged me off and got me to hold screwdrivers for her. Trust me, she thinks you're great. Go on, go inside and say hi. I've got some business to go stick my nose into anyway. Alright. Catch you in a bit? I've got some questions about the council. Of course, I won't be out for long. Later, mate. Plop.
Hey.
Yo.
Do you want those hours back?
I guess so. It's only 4 hours. I don't think it'll make much difference.
If it's okay, I'd prefer that you have them. Ashley's been enjoying having you around.
Just Ashley?
And me too, I guess.
You seem pretty reluctant to admit that, my dude.
Don't psychoanalyze me. Too relatable. Sit still for a minute. Alright, lay your hand on mine and place your index finger on my wrist.
This a part of your ritual or just an excuse to hold hands?
Shut up. Thanks. Watch carefully, and no matter what you do, don't move your hand. There's usually a binding spell I use to make sure that doesn't happen, but I've run out of the reagents required, and you probably don't care about that. True. Alright. Yep. I give this time freely and without coercion. As above, so below. I maintain the balance. Ow. I maintain the balance. And that's it. How do you feel?
I actually feel better. I feel less itchy.
Yeah, we weren't kidding about that yesterday. As you linger, you begin to upset the balance, and as I understand, it doesn't feel good.
Right, yeah. Why does Ned get to stick around then? Does he just ignore it?
The Council are a special case. They're more similar to demigods, or demons, than they are to us.
That's fascinating.
Tell me about it. I'd have joined ages ago, but they're uptight dicks.
They don't seem so bad to me.
That's because you've not run into any of their ridiculous rules. Bunch of bloody regulations on manipulating life force and certain standards on the treatment of spirits. There's got to be a more inclusive term than human rights for all of the not quite human entities that are floating around.
So true. Is that why you gave me the hours back? Because Ned realized you broke the rules?
No, that was all within the guidelines, despite his blustering. I gave them back because I felt bad. That's all.
Oh, neat, so you pity me. I love that. I'm actually really into it.
No, dude, it's not like that at all.
Nah, you don't need to clarify. I get it.
Seriously.
Last day on Earth. Moving on.
Fine, sure. I'm sorry. Sorry, I've got to serve this customer.
I'll help.
Really? It's probably not a two-person job. Sometimes two people working on a task will be less efficient than one.
Sometimes Kishan doesn't care. He's like, let me help. I help anyway.
Yep.
Come on.
They're so cute. I love the friendship that's developing between these two. "6 p.m., day 2.
Anything else that needs doing?
Nah, I'm gonna take this tray of glasses into the kitchen. You can go chill for a bit.
I'll take them. You need a break. Like that NCIS scene with two people typing on the same keyboard. Double the efficiency or half the efficiency. You decide.
Sure.
Where's the kitchen?
That way. You'll find it eventually.
Cool. Back in a minute. Oh, meanwhile. Father figure and child playing chess.
Your pawns are nothing compared to the raw power of my castles.
Brook and Castle both offer protection for the defending team, but Brook seems to be the more popular.
Nothing!
Yeah? What's this then?
Ah! My castle! Brought low by my own hubris.
No, it was just a pawn. And maybe a little bit of hubris. When Shay sees Ashley thriving, it's hard for him to feel like he's doing the wrong thing. Maybe that makes him overconfident. Maybe it makes him just the right amount of confident. Bishop. Knight.
Ah!
Your other castle, and check.
Check, you say?
Oh, I didn't think of that.
You activated my truck card. Oh, hey Maddie, come check this out. tricked him into a false sense of security.
Oh man, that's embarrassing. You seriously let her outmaneuver you that hard? Yes, I'm very ashamed. I suppose the real hubris was inside me all along.
I friggin' love winning. I should try doing this more often.
A chance win at chess.
Could grow into a big winning streak, you know? You wanna play something with us? I should really head back down to the bar.
There's nobody there. Come on, take a load off. If anyone really needs you, they'll know where to find you.
How about I grab us all a drink, make sure there's nobody waiting down there, then we play something. Won't be 5 minutes. You actually gonna come back this time? You never come back.
I'll come back. Promise.
Why don't you pick out a game while I'm gone?
Let's find something, Ashley. What do you feel like playing today?
Something... Something with lots of dice.
The past tense of die is died. The plural of die is dice. I don't know what I'm supposed to glean from this, but sure, that is true.
Hi, Linton!
Welcome in, Raiders! I'm so glad that the alerts are back. I can actually tell who's raiding me now.
Hi, guys! Hope you had a good stream. Welcome in, Bonaparty.
Welcome, welcome.
Hope you guys had a good stream.
We are in the middle of chapter 4 of this visual novel experience, so I apologize if you have like no context to what's going on. But welcome. You can tell despite that font. Oh, you mean the fact that it's white text on a white background? Yes. I can see the icon. There's like a circle. There's like a little circle that shows up with Lette's icon on it. It means I do have to like check that, and if it's a stranger who's raiding me for the first time, I sometimes will have to like squint at their name, but I recognize Lette's icon. But welcome in, guys. Like I said, hope you had a good stream. Welcome, welcome. I have been reading and voice acting this visual novel. It's called Necrobarista. It's basically like, it's kind of a sci-fi, kind of like a magical realism type deal with like a cafe that is on the precipice of like the afterlife and like the real world. Souls come there during their last days on Earth, kind of like come to terms with the fact that they are dying, basically. It's good. I really like it. I like that they brought the feature back and then slightly changed it to be harder to read. I mean, it was kind of hard to read in dark mode before, because it was white text, white background for some reason. But, yeah, they have made it a little bit difficult. That premise is out there. It's still a really good game, though. I recommend that you check out the other parts, or check out the game for yourself. It's quite good. Dice it is. We'll see you in a minute, Maddie. 6:15, Ashley's workshop. Oh, that window is funky. I like the story and Yuno reading it. Oh, I'm glad you like listening to me read it. I'm having fun reading it too. Oh, she did come back. Yippee.
And that's why the 4th season of Row Battle Royale was an absolute betrayal.
But you still want to be on it one day?
Well, yeah. Unless an indie circuit opens up.
Like in wrestling?
Exactly like in wrestling. Melbourne's got a local show. I want something like that.
You could probably put your own local league together if you worked really hard.
Perhaps you could build the robots and get people to battle them? Human-controlled bots are boring, though. I want to get more of that spirit juice and put together a bigger Ashling. Veteran necromancers will advise that spirit juice is not something to play around with. Masters know that playing around is the best way to learn. How big? I think I'll start at car-sized, then move on to more of a bus-adjacent form factor.
I'm not sure we have enough to power one of those.
You'd have to get Maddie to source you a large amount of it. We would need liters of it at least. That'd be super cool. Didn't you say it was illegal, though?
Well, technically. What Ned doesn't know won't hurt him.
He'd lose his head if he knew half the things we were doing around here. I don't know. He seems fairly lenient with you, right?
He wasn't always like that. A long time before you turned up, he nearly shut me down because I... Would you believe it's because I sheltered a criminal?
Ned nearly shut you down because of that? Am I thinking of the same criminal you are?
Trust me, the irony was apparent. I found it very, very funny.
Hi, welcome in. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're having a good day so far. What sort of criminal were they?
Just a minor demon on the run.
Most demons aren't lucky enough to find someone as welcoming as Che, especially the ones that haven't had a chance to make a name for themselves.
I don't know what she did to get a price on her head. I just took her in when she stumbled through the door, dripping blood everywhere.
That's metal.
It was extremely metal.
How long did you manage to hide her for?
Oh, not too long. Maybe 6 weeks. The time flew by, if I'm being honest.
Why is that? Was she from the clock realm?
No, nothing like that. We, bonded.
Magically? How'd you do that? I thought I heard you telling Maddie that sort of thing was impossible between beings on this plane.
No, not magically. We were... lovers.
Ew. Yuck.
Happier days.
I love hearing about when you were young and reckless.
Oh, gosh, what do you think I am now, huh? Old and boring?
Definitely old.
Despite myself, I must say you're definitely not boring.
It's so cute. I love this fat family so much.
That's some pretty decent voice acting for the child. Are you complimenting my voice acting being a child? Thanks. It is one of my skill sets, I will say. Old. There's that patented Maddie charm.
Well, you know me, I'm full of them.
Oh yeah, charms. Hexes, curses.
That's all on your account, old man.
I won't deny it. Hey, Maddie.
Hey, dude. Having trouble finding the kitchen?
Yeah, I couldn't. I checked everywhere.
It's just behind the bar, man. You can't miss it.
I told you, I checked everywhere.
Nah, you're not catching my drift. It's just behind the bar. You can't miss it. Have another look. It'll be there this time. Sometimes you gotta remind the quantum hallways that they exist.
Fine. How long are we going to keep him here, Maddie?
Ooh, we're keeping him?
No, we're not keeping him. I'm going to let him stay as long as he wants. He'll leave on his own accord at some point. You feel sorry for him?
Weirdly, yes. I don't usually get attached to customers, but he's a good dude. I like him. Do you like him because he's nice? Or because he was good at passing your tools over? Yes. Don't get too attached. He's not gonna be here forever. Well, duh. I know how it works. I'm just going to enjoy having him around, just like he taught me. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Ashley. That's from the motivational calendar I threw out last week. I never said that. Same. I'm used to people moving on, is the point. I can deal with it. Good. 6:30. Rabble. Chatter. Oh, in comes Ned. Oh, she just tossed that cup. The fuck? Causing problems because she hates that guy. Maddie, her spite towards Ned is crazy. You gonna keep staring at the coffee stain or nah? Yes. Okay, whatever. What do you want from this conversation? I'm an open book as far as matters of life and death are concerned. Yeah. I don't want to go. I know you've probably heard this from, I don't know, 1,000 people or whatever. Given the amount of traffic the terminal gets and how long it's been open, 1,000 people is a pretty low estimate. It's not about staying around for people or wanting to go back to my old life. As wonderful and not stressful as that sounds, like, I'm not afraid of what lies on the other side. I don't think there's any point to worrying about it until I'm there. I just don't think I've spent enough time here. The cafe? No. All this. I guess you'd call it this plane? Roughly speaking, I suppose so. I want to know what you did to be able to stay. Sure. Did Manny give you those hours back? Yeah. Why? Well, that's a way. You can just find enough hours to stay as a spirit. Half here, half gone. But it's a wretched existence. I wouldn't want to live like that. How would you find the hours, though? There's only so many you can get from consenting beings, right? The crappy psychology of gambling aside, you're right, yes. So the question is, how do you do that? How do you create life from nothing? The answer is that you can't, Kishan. It's impossible. There's always got to be some sort of balance maintained. Everyone who learns to manipulate the fundamental life forces understands that no matter whether they're doing good or bad things... Oh, sorry, I can't read. Everyone who learns to manipulate the fundamental life forces understands that, no matter whether they're doing good or bad things with their skills. Here's the thing, though. You don't need both parties to agree. It's just a social nicety. Something that separates us from, well, people who don't do that. That's where the idea of vampires came from, for example. Those bastards. They're not special or anything. They're just dickheads. Anyway. Anyway, if you can take life force from people, you can also drain it from animals or plants.
Steal their life force, cool. Yeah, he's literally just like, steal life force from other things. You don't need verbal consent, just take it. Yum yum.
But in this business, there's a lot we don't or can't understand. One of the things we can't understand is why life force from animals and plants is tainted. It feels gross. If it didn't, everyone would take it. Consequences be damned. How are you feeling today, before Maddie took the hours back? I felt like I was slipping away. Like my mind was really foggy. It's scary to run when it's foggy. You don't know what you might be running toward.
Oh, the fog. That's like a reference to that short story we read about him. Where he was stuck like running through the void after walking through the tunnel. Like the light of the tunnel and stuff. I understand. It's all connecting. The pieces are connecting together. It was really hard to think or put sentences together. Nobody really noticed, though. Typical.
Imagine that, but 10 times worse. You're foggy, but there's also something fundamentally wrong. Like you're a collection of puzzle pieces that don't quite fit together. Like an engine that's running out of oil.
That sounds horrifying.
Right?
So, should I do it?
Probably not.
How would I stay otherwise?
Well, you could always go on the lam. Just run for it.
But you'd catch me.
Not me personally. But yes, the council would eventually.
And that's it? That's my only option.
Perhaps. Depends on how you feel about bonding your soul for eternity to a fundamentally neutral arbiter of justice. The downside of neutral arbiters is that they're never on your side.
I have no strong feelings about it, one way or another.
Smart arse.
Would you regret it if you stayed here forever instead of moving on?
I don't know. I guess that would be up to me, right?
How do you mean?
In the end, how I feel about taking a big branch in my life is just a matter of how I frame it.
I can focus on what I'll regret, sure, but it's not a useful way to spend my time. If I focus on the future, on everything that's in the possibility space, instead of outside of it, that's probably better for me, yeah? Sure.
You don't sound convinced. I'm just ambivalent on it. I try not to think about anything too hard these days. But if you're willing to accept eternal bondage with the council, I can keep you here. It's not easy work, though. You have to act in the best interest of the system, not its individual parts.
Bureaucracy at its finest. How did you learn to deal with it?
Just took some time. When you're used to it, you learn not to think too hard about what you're doing. As long as you take a holistic view of everything, things generally shake out alright. We tend to only bother the biggest rule breakers anyway. Maddie being one of them.
Ugh. Habitually.
She wouldn't be getting so much leeway if it weren't for Che.
I don't understand that guy. He's nice. We've chatted a bit. But what makes him so special?
He's provided services in the past. I can count on one hand the number of people who know as much about the manipulation of life force as he does. He's been researching it for over 100 years. A lot has changed since the days when Che was a young man.
No way. He's that old? He looks like 60 max.
Yep, much older than that.
Wild.
We're getting sidetracked, though. How do you feel about joining the council? I don't hand out offers willy-nilly, you know.
I'm interested, but can I have some time to think about it?
How much time do you have? You've been out for
Nearly 25 hours. You're overdue. Put it on Maddie's tab. Huh. Okay. I assume you're not going to stick around forever. Unlikely, if the next few hours are anything like how I felt this morning. I'll stick around until you have a solid answer then. Cool. Wanna get drunk? We're already drinking, mate. Nah, Che told me about something pretty special he's got behind the bar. Unless it's something really special, he's probably offered me some. And even then. So you've tried the... bottled soul? You pulling my leg? Nope. You've got to be mistaken. You haven't seen it in person, have you? Yeah, I actually have seen it. That's quite illegal. I expected better from him. Damn it. So, are you going to drink it or not? Council regulations require me to confiscate it or force the owner to dispose of it. Ned doesn't steal anymore, he just sees his assets. It's a completely different thing. Sure, we'll go with that. Good morning, Hanaki! Hope you're doing well this morning. We'd be doing him a favor then. I suppose. Come on, dude. Che said it would knock you flat. When you say you, do you mean me? Or you, or just anyone who drinks it? Anyone. It's like 200% alcohol or something. That's not technically possible, but I'll admit my interest is piqued. Well, let's not waste any time. Damn it. This was a setup, wasn't it? Basically. You in? Fine. Oh, this looks deadly. Good thing dead people can't get alcohol poisoning. Hey. To bureaucracy. Huh. To bureaucracy. Bing bing. Yo. Your orders arrived. 3 days late, mate. It got held up by a mutual acquaintance of ours. Ah, shit. That would explain why he's in my hair. I'll be there in half an hour. Whoopee! I was like, oh no, if there's one more scene, this might take a bit too long, but I realized that it's wrapping up. It's probably loading in the little friend segment. Little friend segment time. The catabasis is considered to be a vital part of the hero's narrative. Every hero goes to hell at some point. And in the stories, they usually come back, which is the bit that seems weird to me. I don't think that's how it works in real life. The cafe has had a bunch of heroes come through, claiming that they were going to conquer hell and come back. They never returned, as far as I saw. The idea of catabasis is that, in the grand scheme of things, hell, or the underworld, or Hades, or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, it's on the outside of wherever we are. Like we're trapped inside this sphere and we leave it to go to hell. Did the ancient Greeks ever consider that maybe we've been on the outside the whole time, just waiting to get in? Maybe they did. Matter of perspective. I guess I'll ask one sometime if I ever meet one. But perhaps we're just waiting our entire lives for this. To pass through the firmament to the next place.
to be driftwood that washes up on the shore of whatever that next place actually is. Seems weird, but maybe that's where we are naturally meant to be. I'm thinking it's possible that this world isn't some sort of proving ground or anything. Maybe it's just a waiting room. A beautiful, flawed, complex waiting room. Personally, I don't think there's anything like heaven or hell waiting for us. No judgment either. The world doesn't ever operate in binaries or absolutes. That's just flawed human thinking projected onto things that are much, much more complex than they can ever perceive. And I don't think what's waiting on the other side is even something that we can conceptualize. I bet it's cool. It's a shame that it's a one-way trip, though. Nice monologue. Heck yeah. Okay. The story is getting so interesting. I don't blame you. Maybe one day soon I'll be able to stop blaming myself, too. Oh man, what a line. You can now speak to Tuan and Hannah to experience the side story Walking to the Sky. Oh, there's like a whole side story that's like separate from everything else? That sounds complicated. I'm watching a robot crab with a bottle with a doodled face talk philosophically about the end of life. This is video games, right? They're kind of crazy. Gonna go make breakfast now? Okay, that's fine. I was gonna wrap up here anyway. We will explore in the... I love talking. We are going to explore the rest of this section next time. Next time I stream this. Like, we'll explore all the lore bits and find where the side story is and stuff. I would do it now, but we're cutting into the time where Onimama's aide shows up, and I don't really like streaming when they are here. So I'm gonna go ahead and call it here today. But yeah, I will actually be streaming again later today. I will be streaming at my usual time of 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll be doing a trip Zatsu. I'll be discussing all the stuff I got up to on my trip. I'll be showing some photos. Yeah. I hope you will look forward to that. It'll be a more like full-on like chatting with me stream versus me reading a visual novel. So I hope you look forward to it. I got a couple good pics of like food and other such things, so I hope you will look forward to that. Until then, thank you guys so much for choosing to spend time with me. I hope that you have a good rest of your time zone. And until I see you again, Yunotsu! I'm just gonna do it like this, because I can't, the game doesn't like me. Okay. Yunotsu.